You mentioned the Bucks is one of those teams that has had the pieces in place maybe, but they've had a lot of issues with health since their title run. Logan, how concerned are you about them sitting at 6-4 right now?
I'm at probably a 5. I expect and anticipate the Bucks to figure out most of their issues. I think the biggest issue by far has been their point of attack defense and depth. They have been pretty abysmal defensively to start out the year. I believe they're bottom 20 in defensive rating. Let me pull it up exactly.
They're 25th in defensive rating.
116 right now. They've been okay offensively. I think it's going to take some time for them to fully gel together. I feel a lack of chemistry and flow with this team, and I feel like that's natural with a new superstar, with a new head coach. I still don't feel like they're utilizing Dame and Giannis together enough. I would legitimately just spam pick and roll like I was playing 2K or something like that with those two, man. Dame has not been great to start out this year. He's 23, 4, and 5 on some pretty poor shooting. Again, I anticipate them figuring it out offensively. When you have two top 15 players, they draw fouls at a high level, they complement each other. And again, they've been doing this without a lot of Chris Middleton. Middleton's been on a minutes restriction, 19 minutes per game on 11, 4, and 4 a night. Offensively, I expect them to figure it out, but I am concerned about their point of attack defense. Dame is not a good defender. I think there's a lack of high-quality point of attack guys down the roster. And I think this is probably the worst depth that Milwaukee has had. They lose Jay Crowder. He's going to go under the knife, apparently, get surgery. That's an imperative, a very important depth piece for these guys to have. They're probably only 8 or 9 deep. I think this probably means you're going more Andre Jackson Jr. minutes. I like him a lot. I think he's a good defender, a really good defender, actually. So I guess give him more burn. But my primary concerns are just defense for this team and depth. And I don't know if there's anything that the Bucks can do right now for them to leapfrog the Boston Celtics for me. There's just a different defensive ceiling and offensive ceiling I see with that team. Now, again, they've got 2 top 15 guys. They've got a really great third option in Chris Middleton, but I don't know what the Bucks can do right now for them to take over that top spot in the East, for me, over the Boston Celtics. I just think Boston clears them in every facet.
Absolutely, Boston feels a lot more well-rounded right now. I mean, guys, you've got the dude who finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting and Giannis on the team, and the point of attack defense is just so terrible that it entirely doesn't matter right now. I mean, the whole talk about Malik Beasley being sort of the take the hardest matchup.
Oh, God.
And that's paraphrasing the coach himself. It's insane that was a game plan going in, and I'm incredibly worried about it. On the flip side, there is virtually no way that Dame plays this bad or shoots this bad. Is he under 30% from 3 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it's hard to say that that's the reality for them, but as far as like perimeter one-on-one matchups, I mean, it's not going to get better for them. Unless they make a move, but I mean, I don't think anybody's asset chest is more empty than theirs right now. I feel like they kind of emptied the tank. So, and then again on top of that, they're very, very old. Dame is very old. Giannis is getting up there. Middleton. We haven't seen a healthy Middleton in a long, long time. Middleton's not only old, but I have real questions about whether or not that ever is going to get back. And then Lopez, I mean, is he 36, 37? 35. So, yeah, it's some pretty major concerns. The perimeter defense did not get just masked up by great interior, rim protection and help. And I'm not 100% sure what they can do about it. I think they're going to be very good, but I'm not 100% sure that the flaws that have showed themselves are necessarily going to just become better outside of Dame playing better and gelling offensively more.
If we are talking about the panic meter in terms of how disappointed, how concerned we are relative to expectations, the Bucks very well may be number 1 for me, just because I was the highest on them of any of these teams by a good margin. I thought the Bucks were going to go out there. I thought they were going to be every bit the caliber of the team that Denver is. I thought that Dame was the perfect solution for their biggest issue offensively. And then I thought that defensively, their back line would be great enough so that this could still be a good defense. Not a great defense, not the defense in the title run, not the defense with Drew Holiday as the point of attack monster that he is. But I just see a backcourt here that is small, that is not quick laterally, that is not athletic, and they can't contain anybody. And so now there's just too much pressure on that back line. And interestingly, Giannis and Brook have been up there for the best rim protecting duo in basketball for a long time. Last year, they were second in defensive field goal percentage allowed at the rim, how far they held opposing teams below their normal percentage. This year, they're 21st right now, and I don't think that says nearly as much about Giannis and Brook as it does about just the burden that is being placed on them. I think this team is going to have to look a lot more at, and this is a bit concerning to say, but like Marjon Beauchamp, I think is going to have to play a lot more, because Malik Beasley, bro, like he's just, he's getting cooked out there. And you cannot have a liability alongside Dame in the backcourt. And Beauchamp is a bigger wing. He's very long. He competes defensively. He can shoot. Like, I think that he's actually really solid. And Malik Beasley, 25-plus minutes a night, if he's going to defend at this level, just doesn't work. So I think they're going to get better defensively. Andre Jackson, who you mentioned, Logan, is awesome there. I just don't think he's offensively skilled enough to play big minutes. But maybe he's a specialist. Maybe he's a certain matchup kind of guy. But I don't think they're reaching the defensive ceiling that I hoped. I think that Denver is going to be a better defensive team and is certainly going to be a better offensive team. But I'm not really worried about the offense, even though it hasn't been the best version of what we could hope from them. They're still 7th in offensive rating. Dame's shot is just off. He has had a little trouble finishing at the rim as well. He could be a bit more accurate as a passer. He could make slightly quicker decisions when he sees two defenders out of pick and roll. But I expect him to improve in all of those categories. Giannis, we've seen really step up his individual dominance, just asserting himself physically recently. He's still not facilitating as much as he maybe could be. He's sort of got a, I'm just going to do this myself mentality right now. I mean, that Pacers game, I mean, who could blame him? He dropped 54. It was the easiest 54 I've seen in my life. But we have seen him turn the ball over a bit more than we're used to as well. And the pick and roll fit, Logan, is not as ideal as I hoped that it would be. Giannis is going to deal with a bit of a learning curve there. He needs to become a more willing and better screener, and he needs to become a better roller and short roll decision maker. And I think that the ceiling is absolutely there. Everything has just been bumpy to start this year, though. And this team is old, and they're slow. And I really believe in healthy Chris Middleton, but I just want to see it, man. Like, the encouraging thing to me is that he did his thing in the playoffs last year. It may have only been 5 games, but we actually saw him playing real minutes, and he was getting buckets, and he looked like Chris Middleton. But when you're a 32-year-old who's been hurt basically for the better part of the last 2 years, and you're still playing 18 minutes a game, like, he has to be really good. They rely so much on their top 4, and it's an old top 4. It's a top 4 that maybe doesn't fit as perfectly as we hoped. There's just a lot of alarm bells going off. They've also, this is an interesting stat, they're still playing fast, but the level at which they're getting out and running in transition, that's always been the basis of Giannis leading good offenses, because he's the best transition player in basketball, and they may have their half-court limitations, but they're going to run more than you, and they're going to score a lot in transition. They had 5 straight years where they were at least 87th percentile in transition frequency. Last year, they went down to 63rd. You see some of the effects of that aging. Right now, they're 17th in transition frequency. Man. So, again, they're still playing fast, like faster than that number would suggest. I think they're 6th in pace. But in terms of making the most of Giannis in transition, this isn't the best team to do that, and they're not doing that at a very high level right now. So, I'm concerned. I am very concerned. Dame did not just sort of put Flex Seal on this team like I hoped he would.
No, and I think you're right, too. A point that Matt made. I think this team needs Chris Middleton. You know, if they're going to be this lackluster defensively, then I think that really is a real concern with this team moving forward. He not only has to be healthy, you know, he's got to be great when it comes playoff time. Relative to expectation, I think you're right, man. I mean, I'm probably more worried. I expected this to be a seamless fit. I expected Boston to be marginally better, but I didn't expect this kind of defensive regression and these kind of defensive struggles. I'd say screw it, man. I'd give Beauchamp and I'd give Andre Jackson more minutes in Jay Crowder's absence. At least you get another guy out there that can competently hold his own on the perimeter. I think it's just valuable playing a guy like that, especially if Malik Beasley isn't going to shoot well. He's got slow feet, man. Man, pack him up, man. Sit him on the bench, bro. Malik, just cut his minutes, man. Give him to Andre.
Yeah, I guess that's the whole idea. It's Dame, please fix the half-court offense, and until that happens, the Dame trade's going to be really, really ugly, and I expect it to happen to some extent. Obviously, it's going to get better. They're going to gel better. I'm very confident in it, but right now you're kind of just seeing the problems that would arise from a Dame trade and none of the positives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, I think in a vacuum, we're all probably lowest on the Clippers out of all of these teams that we've discussed today. Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. If we were to judge this, though, in terms of relative to expectations, who are you guys most concerned about out of all the teams that we've mentioned?
Probably Milwaukee.
I think so.
I think it is the Bucks for me. All right. Well, gentlemen, we are seeing eye to eye.
I mean, the Warriors I view as like a team that's going to be a tough first round, then maybe, with a real shot to get to the second, depending on matchup. The Suns, I just haven't seen it yet, so I don't have much to say. The Lakers, slow Lakers start, some ugliness, but, are they still a very possible Western Conference Finals team? Yeah, that's kind of what I thought they were coming in. But the Bucks, I expected, this could be the best team in the league, and right now, they absolutely haven't. And I still think they're going to turn it around. So I'm not
Agreed.
It's over, or anything, but the worst start relative to expectations absolutely is Milwaukee.
Yeah. I think that they're going to turn it around too. The standard is just obscenely high. I picked them to beat Denver in 7 in the finals. There's no way I would pick them in a series against Denver today. I would not pick them in a series against Boston today. And that's just where the disappointment comes from.